So a student who doesn't get that at home, this is literally why I want to create this program, and literally why I want to communicate this, that sometimes the only person for that student is the teacher. And sometimes they will not go to the student counselor, or they will not open up, but they will trust a teacher. So the importance of the role of the educator in this situation cannot be stressed more, because sometimes that's it. This is the person, this is the one person that can help them navigate a tricky moment in life. And I'm sure there's many people who are listening that have a memory of a particular teacher that was there for them at a certain moment in time. I know I have. I also have memories of teachers who were part of the problem and caused me pain and insecurity as well. But there was one or two teachers that I depended upon, and that has also been a recurring theme when I've investigated people's stories, that the teacher that was there for them, that would listen to them, or have that open door policy, or who would give them that sense of reassurance, was invaluable.
So Karen, I know that it's, like a whole workshop in itself, but can you just give our listeners some ideas of what the educator might do in this situation? So what are some of the steps that an educator might take when they need to provide support to a student such as this one?
Yes, so in this situation, what you could do as a practical guide, so what you could do is first let them speak. So you really want to let the student, in a way, dump the problem on you, give their whole perspective, let them speak, let them share their emotions. You'll probably hear them generalize and use very, very broad language, such as everybody hates me, or nobody will play with me, or nobody likes me, or I'm completely hopeless. It's large sweeping statements, catastrophizing, making things extraordinarily dramatic, because it feels extraordinarily dramatic and it can feel like the end of the world. So you allow the space for them to vent, if you like, without interruption. And take notes as they're speaking, because that way you can have a look at exactly how they see the problem. It's not so much the problem that interests you, it's how they see the problem. So if you can take notes as to specific language that they're using. All of this I will go into further explanations. We'll do quickly here though, but if you can just take notes as to the language that they're using, and then you would ask specific sort of targeted questions that will help them begin to expand on what they're telling you. So they begin to share in more detail. So if somebody says to you, for instance, everybody hates me, well, then you would say, okay, who specifically? Can you give me a list of names? Because obviously they won't have a list of the entire school. It's not possible. It never would be the whole school. And when they start to list names, that will help them, that will reassure them, because they see how short the list is, which is often way, way shorter than either of you imagine. Specific questions like that. And then once you've got the specifics of the problem, you are then in a great position to be able to reframe it, which is where your power comes in as an educator and a coach. Where you come in is by reframing it, is giving them a broader perspective, a newer perspective, a different perspective, one that they don't have as a 12-year-old or as a 14-year-old or as a even 17-year-old. You'll have students of different 6-year-old. They have a very different perspective to you, and you'll be able to give them more information about that situation. And once they have that information and they are able to see have a broader perspective, then you can go on to make a plan. And you find that the emotion falls away as they start to see the situation from a different point of view. The emotion itself will subside, a sense of normalcy will return, and then you're able to make a plan for the future, for the present and the future. That's really the strategy.
Thank you, Karen. I think you've explained the coaching process really clearly then, and it's given everybody an idea of, what your program can teach them and what kind of life skills they can apply to the students they work with, to others and to themselves. So talking about themselves, it's probably quite timely that we move on to the last question, which is actually about adults. And the question is, I feel intimidated by another staff member. What can I do? Karen, would you like to have a go at giving us your perspective on that question?
Yes, now this is a really interesting question, because this is why workplace bullying is so difficult to prosecute and so difficult to get conclusions, outcomes for workplace bullying. So the question that you need to ask yourself is, what does intimidation look like to you? Because the problem is we all have a different idea of what intimidating is, or what intimidating means even. And depending on your background, how you were raised, on your cultural perspective, as I said before, some cultures have a rule where you do not look people in the eye, for instance, and other cultures have a rule that if you don't look someone in the eye, you're being shifty. We all have different ideas about what's okay and what's not okay.